Hi there, Cosmic Family. My name is Yahlia in this incarnation. We have the moon already in Capricorn. We could have, much more focus in our tasks and in our responsibilities, the things we need to do. And this moon is responding to a Saturn that is retrograde in Aries in conjunction with Neptune retrograde in Aries. Both of them connected with Uranus in Gemini, Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, and they are receiving an opposition from Mars that right now it is in Virgo, but is about to enter in Libra tomorrow, August 6th. So all of them conforming this cosmic kite that I was commenting on Sunday. This is an aspect of great potential, in this case of manifestation of elevated realities, because Saturn and Neptune are the focal point. So I wanted to approach a little bit more the things that involve this opposition with Mars, because the last week was Venus in Cancer, the one that made these squares with both of them. You can watch those videos to comprehend the story that was woven. And precisely Mars, which is the masculine polarity, is entering in a sign that is ruled by Venus. It is going to respond to Venus. And we have to add that Venus is going to have a union with Jupiter. Therefore, relationships is the topic these days, but also resources. So when Mars is making an opposition with Saturn, this could be felt as wanting to move forward. And life is like putting obstacles, it is stopping us, challenges. And Neptune adds this energy of uncertainty. I am not seeing quite clear where I am moving forward. Mind could want to control. But also Neptune, it is proposing in this opposition, having to dissolve denials and idealizations of reality in certain situations to assume a decision of an inner balance, which is Mars in Libra. That is generated when we are able to listen to ourselves, when we recognize what is required right now. There are times where we need to be more passive. There are times where we need to mediate, create agreement. There are times that it's moment to act and to let go of the resistance to deal with what is manifesting in front of us. So the energy of Saturn and Neptune in Aries in its distortion is something that could expressed in a very bad channeled aggressiveness. Saturn, from this space of rigidity, authoritarianism, I don't know if I'm inventing that word, or the other polarity, the lack of boundaries, actions very, very impulsive that are not measuring consequences. And people that could express this in a very primitive way, this is the lowest expression of Aries. So Neptune in Aries could also manifest this imbalance aggressiveness, but from fighting for what is good in quotation marks, or it is a violence that could be justified for higher causes, again with quotation marks. These are the great distortions of Neptune. So to understand this, I'm not referring that if someone is crossing our healthy boundaries, we have to tolerate or sustain that. But many times to be able to put the boundary and to create a balance, this could imply to not respond to that imbalance act from the other, to retire in the right time, to make a pause. And understanding that beyond what we could consider fair or unfair, because justice, that is ruled by Libra, the justice of Libra, it is not linked with a moral conditioned by the mind, the moral that each one of us could have, which doesn't mean not having values. In fact, the more we grow spiritually, in consciousness, this is going to be expressed, the values of the soul. I am not referring to talking in a soft voice, to dress in white and to meditate in a mountain, which there is nothing wrong with all of those things. I think they are amazing. But I am referring that love and the spiritual growth don't respond to an archetype that is conditioned in our mind. They are expressions that are seen in our actions, in what we do daily, and in what we are building in time. And when we talk about Libra, this is a sign that represents this balance that we could generate in the practice from observing these circumstances, these external circumstances, in the case of the opposition, the ones that are creating discomfort, because we are talking about attention, as a calling to move our energy inwards and in actions in a different way. This is not the only practice. Obviously, the inner observation could give us so much indications of what we need to rebalance, and not always needing an external situation that pushes us to see it. But in many cases, our patterns, we do that from very unconscious space in an automatic pilot. That's why the interaction with reality, it is vital to detect them. But for example, when a person is avoiding to use its capacity to act, his capacity or her capacity to act and to move forward, it is escaping from a decision, it is possible to attract people that are attacking us, to reflect that we are not using our masculine energy. This does justify those people? Of course not. But we can take that opportunity and to be in charge of our part of in that circumstance, and then universe is going to reestablish everything. The consequences of our acts are always manifesting, later or sooner or later, not as a punishment or a reward, because those concepts are more childish actually. But everything that occurs is to create awareness, to raise awareness, and continuing our return to the infinite. So all of us, we have things that we have to illuminate, that we have to, turn conscious about. There is no human being outside of this. And if there are people that believe that they don't have imbalances, it is because they are truly in a very high degree of unconsciousness. So our anger could also emerge when we are trying to force someone else to be what we are expecting and not what the person is. There are relationships where the conflicts are proposing us forms of evolution if each one of the parts are able to look at themselves and to recognize themselves in the other to change and grow. But there are other relationships in which the constant this encounter, I don't know if this is the word, but the lack of encounter, it is showing us how we are fitting our energies in those patterns, and sustaining those relationships means perpetuate the patterns. Therefore, forcing an agreement, forcing to be okay in some cases could mean being in conflict with oneself. So the anger, the energetic drain is revealing the insistence where we shouldn't go anymore. And we could talk about, relationships of any kind, members of the family, friends, whatever thing, It is not only about partners. So we could translate this to other circumstances, the energetic drain, which is very linked with oppositions also between Mars and Neptune, tiredness, the sensation of fighting, of battle. It is showing us that we need to do something different to generate that inner agreement. Because when we are in charge, of reestablishing our energy, that will also be shown on the outside. You just have to test it, to do it, and see how it is manifested. So this inner agreement is to surrender to life. It is to stop resisting a specific decision. It is to not force ourselves to sustain a structure, Saturn, that we cannot sustain anymore, and to allow them to be dissolved, which is Neptune, because that act is giving place to something much more better. And there are other people that they don't have perhaps something external to let go of, but they have an inner perception that is generating resistance to accept the path that they need to transit right now. Could be the fear of not being able to move across the challenges, the uncertainty, because they are putting energy in something and the result it isn't coming already, and it isn't coming yet. This thing of the results in a deeper level, when we want a result that isn't manifested yet, and that is generating an attachment. This means that we are becoming very sad, we lose the will to continue, we are disconnected from the sense of what we are doing. It is because many times we want to run from the experience, the present experience. Some people, many times, they want to show, they want to create the result to show to the outside that they are able to do it, which is other shadow of Saturn, this self-exigency. Or because we want to confirm, but from a place of control, that what we are doing truly has a purpose. When that answer is already there, but if the mind is creating a level of chaos that in which there is no clarity, which is also an aspect of Neptune, nothing happens. Because for the people that genuinely are looking for their truth, whatever this is, whatever the form it takes, light in the right time always comes, because the seeking for that truth, that inner truth, it already responds to the higher will manifesting itself in us. Thank you, everyone. See you in the next video. Ciao, ciao.